Good morning, this is Shelby Law with the Great Basin Prescribed Fire and Smoke Briefing for Wednesday, February 21st, 2024. Precipitation is shown here for the past 7 days on the left and the past 30 days on the right. We have inches on the left and percent of normal for the past 30 days on the right. Has been a pretty active weather pattern over the last week, especially over the northern half of the geographic area and along the Wasatch Front up into southeast Idaho and western Wyoming. Some drier spots out there across the south. But over the past 30 days, it's been a pretty good month for us precip wise, especially Utah, even southern Nevada, and the Snake River Plain. But there are some drier pockets. The central Idaho mountains have missed out on a lot of precipitation recently. Drier pocket there in northwest Nevada, and then kind of hit or miss also in western Wyoming. Snowfall for the past 72 hours is shown here. It's been a pretty little wet pattern for the past day or so, with some high elevation snow across the Wasatch Front into eastern Nevada, up into western Wyoming, and then along the Sierra Front as well. Some of these darker oranges are over 12 inches of snow at the higher elevations, so pretty good snow maker here for, again, northern Utah and the higher elevations of central and eastern Nevada. All right, current snowpack values or percent of normal values are shown here. We can see that snowpack is pretty healthy for many portions of the area, especially Utah and Nevada, where those values are up 130, 140% of normal in northern Nevada. The Sierra Front is a little bit lower, below average for the time of year. And then, of course, we have some pockets in the central Idaho mountains and portions of western Wyoming that are also on the drier side. If we look to our neighbors to the north, some pretty low values up there in the northern Rockies and the Pacific Northwest this year, below 50th percentile for snowpack for those guys. So definitely some concern up there. Okay, looking at today's satellite imagery, we can see a nice low pressure moving to the Pacific or into the west coast. That is what's bringing precipitation to the Great Basin today, enhancing and yesterday, bringing the high elevation snow, valley rain to many portions of the area. We expect that to continue throughout the day today, and then we'll see some clearing for the second half of the work week. Okay, so again, this afternoon, that low still in place over the Pacific Northwest, continuing to bring moisture across the area. We'll start to see things decrease by this afternoon across the south. Ventilation rates shown on the right are pretty high over Utah and Nevada, and a little bit lower further north. Transport winds are shown here on the left. We can see some gustier winds over portions of Nevada and into Utah out ahead of that low with lighter winds across the north. Mixing heights are also higher across the south, Nevada and into Utah, with some lower values further north. This is kind of a warmer storm for this time of year coming in from kind of the south. With highs in the 40s to near 50 in some areas today. So pretty warm out there. Again, high elevation snow, low elevation rain for the most part. Probability of precip shown on the right. The bulk of the precip is coming into Utah today with some lower probabilities, but still pretty good there in eastern Nevada and up into portions of western Idaho. So pretty good chance for many areas to see precipitation today. If they haven't already yet. All right, tomorrow we'll start to see a ridge building into the Great Basin for warming and drying conditions region-wide. Ventilation rates decrease as that ridge builds in. Transport winds lighten up quite a bit tomorrow with light winds across much of the area. Mixing heights are still somewhat elevated over Nevada and central and southern Utah, but still remaining low across the north. On Friday, that ridge continues to strengthen across the area for warming temperatures slightly and clearing skies. Ventilation rates are kind of decreasing everywhere. Transport winds on Friday pick up just a bit over portions of southern Nevada, but generally lighter elsewhere. Mixing heights start to decrease a bit across Utah and Nevada. The forecasted clearing index for Utah is shown here for the next 3 days. Today, the values are really high with those gustier winds and high mixing heights in Utah, and then decreasing quite rapidly tomorrow and Friday as the ridge builds in. The 3-day precipitation totals are shown here. This is mostly just today that we're looking at precip. Pretty good chance everywhere in Utah, especially higher elevations, we'll see that snow. And then again, eastern Nevada and western Idaho could see some precip as well. On Saturday, we'll continue to see generally warmer temperatures. Um, there will be maybe a little bit more moisture in place. Ventilation rates stay lower again on Saturday. And then on Sunday into the first part of next week, we'll start to see the pattern begin to change as a trough moves into the Pacific Northwest. This is going to bring some cooler temperatures starting early next week. So ventilation rates are pretty good on Sunday, out ahead of this next trough as it moves into the Pacific Northwest. Across Utah and Nevada, still sunny and generally warm on Sunday, but the change starts to come into the north. And then on Monday, that low really starts to move further south and east, bringing moisture and cooler temperatures into the Great Basin. So we expect to see an increase in showers across Idaho and into portions of Utah and northern Nevada. Ventilation rates really improving on Tuesday as that trough moves in. And then more of the same on Tuesday. Cold front comes in, should drop our temperatures back down into the 30s with pretty cold overnight lows. This is a good cold spring storm, reminding us that spring is not quite here yet. So still a little cold snap by the first part of next week. Precipitation accumulations for days 4 and 5. This is mainly really kind of looking at Sunday. We'll start to see the precip move into Idaho with that next trough, and then into Monday and Tuesday, which are not really reflected here. We'll see the precip move further south into Utah and Nevada. The extended forecast for February 28th through March 1st is calling for continued cooler temperatures across the west coast and above normal precip over the entire Great Basin here. So we still have some more spring storms moving through. Good news for our snowpack out there. And let's see, that concludes today's briefing. Please check back on Friday for the latest updates.